Welcome back to Call Me By Your Game, the podcast where I, your host Connor McCabe, bring on a guest to hear from them about a meaningful or memorable video game from a particular moment in their life. This is a podcast about what make video games special to different people. And today's episode is one of the co-op variety where I've got a panel of wonderful people here to discuss one game at a time, more of an overview style of this series. And this is co-op episode 67, where we are discussing Me and My Katamari, originally for the Sony PlayStation Portable. I'm really excited about this one. You could be listening one of a few ways. The first way is that you're a supporter on Patreon. If that's you, thank you so much for supporting us over at Super NPC Radio. And if you are listening another way, you could be watching on YouTube. This comes out a week after the Patreon release, or in the future on the main Call Me By Your Game feed. If that's you, thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode or this series or know somebody else who might like it, all I'll ask is that you share it with that person that you just imagined in your brain. Let's introduce the panel for today's episode. And folks, I'm really excited because I don't think I've had any of my family members on the podcast before, and I've got 3 cousins here today. So first, we'll welcome cousin Tyler Schnupp.
It was a good bit.
Thanks. I'm going to really lean on that pretty heavily today.
It's good. I should pull up their names now because there's a couple I like that I don't know their names.
I've actually got a link to a page with all of them. I will drop that in the Zoom chat if anyone wants to just eye some cousins today.
Would love to.
Just drop that in there for you. So cousin Tyler Schnupp is here. We're also joined by cousin Mo. Mo, welcome.
Thank you. Well, I hear an echo.
There's just a little reverb on your end, but it sounds okay. I think it's just the room you're in, or maybe it's you get some feedback in your headphones there.
Yeah, I don't know how podcasts work. Oh, I gotta fix it. Sorry.
Oh, you're all good.
Yeah, it was the audio recording. Weird that recording on QuickTime also.
It was giving it back. There's usually like a button you can click on QuickTime that stops that. It looks like you're like eliminating the sound, but it's actually eliminating the feedback you should be getting. And this is the stuff that cousins help each other with, right?
Yeah. Thank you, cousin. Okay. It works now.
Let's in the spirit of the bear, just scream cousin at each other all day. Mo, so good to have you back. And then cousin joining us for the first time, Brendon Bigley. Brendon, welcome to the pod.
Hello, cousin Connor. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with all of my cousins. I'm a person. I have 40 something real cousins in real life. So just adding a bunch more to the pile really does. You could literally just be my cousins if you want to be. You can come to the next Bigley family function, and I don't think anyone would be any the wiser to be like, yeah, you've been here the whole time.
Yeah, could have been here. Fantastic. As we were going around and doing that bit, I was curious. So we've got a huge amount of cousins for Brendon. I only have 4 cousins. This is more family stuff than I need to get into, but my dad has no siblings. My mom has 2, and they each have 2 kids. So that makes 4. Mo, do you want to divulge how many cousins you have?
I only have 2, so
2?
I'm taking applications for extended family members as long as they're politically cool. I feel like that's the only requirement for extended family.
Yeah,
sure.
we don't have to put up with that if someone new is joining our lives. And then Tyler, I'm gonna guess 7.
Well, as a child of divorce, it's hard to count. It's hard to count on which side.
Yes. Yeah.
So it could be upwards of 10. I don't know.
We'll put a question mark down for you, and Brendon, you could basically be the prince in this game with how many cousins you have.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. That works.
I'm really excited to get into all things Me and My Katamari today, but I do want to give my guests a second to share about themselves and anything they feel like plugging while we're here up top. Tyler, as the most seasoned veteran of the Call Me By Your Game podcast, you've not only had your own solo episode before, you've been on a number of co-op episodes, although it's been a minute since I've had you.
Couple years.
What's coming to mind is Kirby and the Forgotten Land was possibly the last one we talked about together?
I think so, yeah. Who's it? Me, Anna.
And July, I believe.
July.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What do you want to share about yourself today, pal?
About just in general?
Just
to plug?
Anything to plug, or you, it's dealer's choice.
You know me. I've done the episodes. I've been on some of the games clubs and stuff. I don't know. I'm working on some stuff, and but it's not quite ready yet. Not quite ready to promote.
So no music that we need to hear about today.
Maybe in a couple of weeks.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to have you, buddy.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, sorry I wasn't good at that part. But
no, it's okay. I will be, I'll be texting you afterwards passive aggressively after the recording, but just don't worry about it.
As after every episode.
Yes.
I've got a log.
In front of other people, I'll be polite.
Thank you.
Mo, it's great to have you back. We last had you on when I was doing the sequel series for the co-op podcast, and we discussed The Secret of Monkey Island 2 with a few friends. But I asked you on this podcast because your solo episode, we discussed Katamari Damacy, the first game in the series. What do you want to share about yourself? And is there anything you want to plug while you're here?
Yeah, I like Katamari, or I love Katamari. I guess that you're supposed to say you love Katamari. Great game, great series. I have never played this version before, so it was nice to have an opportunity to do that. I make video games in my spare time. A couple years ago, I released Queer Quest, which is Gay Monkey Island meets Feminist Leisure Suit Larry. Next game I'm working on is about running a historic gay bar. So I have like my library stack here on
oh my gosh,
gay bar history. So I'm going to be a historian now. If you want to follow my video game stuff, I very rarely post on Instagram at Queermo Games, QueermoGames. Yeah, so that's what I'm up to.
It's like it sounds.
Queer Quest, all in a gay's work, phenomenal point and click adventure game. Do you want to divulge the sort of like style of this next game?
I'm leaning more tycoon resource management.
Okay.
So you like start a gay bar in like maybe the 50s. I'm still doing the research to figure out what era makes most sense. But in California, gay bars became legal in 1951 or 52. So I'm thinking starting around there. And you try to make the bar last to present day or till maybe COVID or something. I don't know if I want to go as close to present day, but there'll be like events. So like if a drag queen gets wasted in the 60s, you handle that differently than you would in the 90s or 2000s. Yeah, it's a lot of learning history, which is something I've avoided all of my life.
Well,
it'll be worth it.
I'm really excited to hear that. I was excited to have you on because it's been a while since we've caught up, and just hoping that you were working on something new. And lo and behold, there you are. I'll put a link to your username that you put earlier in the show notes. And then, Brendon, welcome as well. I know we've been welcoming you since we started.
Thank you.
But I invited you on because I just know you to be a big enjoyer of the Sony PlayStation Portable, and I know that you enjoy this game. But what do you want to share about yourself? What should people know about you?
Yeah, I think the two most pertinent things that I got a really big lamp today. That's shining bright on my face. It looks like studio lighting in here, but it's just a lamp we got for the office. I just made a great ragu real quick for dinner, which I'm very happy with. I'm still getting notes of it, I'm feeling happy about it.
I didn't even think to plug food.
Ragu needs the help PR wise, I think,
Yeah.
I think bolognese is getting all the favorability in the public these days, and I think ragu could use a little bit of a facelift publicly. Fair. And then I have 3 podcasts that I do. I think the easiest place to point people is wavelengths.online, which is a weekly video game news show that I do, and a YouTube channel. And it's a blog and it's a bunch of other things. Into the Aether, a low-key video game podcast at intothecast.online that I've been doing for 8 years now. Wow. And NPC, Next Portable Console, which is a show about handhelds, among which the PlayStation Portable is one. So I've been doing a lot of PSP deep diving over the past year in particular, because for Into the Aether, this is probably worth mentioning at the top at least. We did a year-long retrospective about the PSP where we played like 100 of the best PSP games over the course of a year, and then came together and did like one massive episode about the entire history of the console and all the great games for it.
And it's incredible. I had become obsessed with the console about, I think, like the December before you all started your journey, or maybe you had already started it leading up to the big celebration episode. But it was perfect for me as a listener to have all of that line up. And the episode is like, if you just love to listen to two people talk passionately about underappreciated consoles, especially this episode is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And second of all, the funny thing about the PSP feeling undervalued, I think, or like feeling like it's an underrated console is just because it's like standing in the shadow of the Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, like the PSP was a very successful console. Like it did very well for Sony and PlayStation as the brand. It's just you compare it to the best-selling handheld of all time, and of course anything is going to look a little bit, a little bit less than. But the PSP was a huge hit, which is funny to think about, especially considering where they went with the Vita later down the line.
Yes. Yeah, a lot easier to go to a retro game store and find a ton of PSP games, and then usually I'll see, I don't know, like 10 overpriced Vita titles that I'll just never be getting. But yeah. I'll put links to all three in the show notes for you as well. So glad to have all three of you here today.
If we could just put a grilled cheese I maybe made earlier in my plugs as well, just for the...
Yes. You want like a hyperlink to like a...
Is it just cheese, or did you throw like a tomato in there? Or
I didn't. I work at a bakery, so the bread's pretty good. Ooh. So it's the bread was doing the heavy lifting.
Totally. That's it.
Nice little sourdough.
Oh man, yeah, that does sound good. We should put that in the description.
Please do that.
I'll put a hyperlink to the best looking grilled cheese image I find on the internet.
Okay.
Gosh, I miss that bread. Got to have another video game hang, so Tyler has to drop off bread at my place.
Yeah, anytime.
Well, folks, let's start to get into it a little bit today. I want to start by discussing our personal histories with the Katamari series and also this game in particular. I'll start off for us and just let you all know that this was my first game in the series ever that I've...
Oh, wow. I guess you had told me that.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's a really fun one to start with.
I really feel, and I'm biased because it's still the only one I've played, but it feels like a great starting point based on also what I've heard about maybe some of what I've heard are limitations, but we'll get into it later. I had never played another game in the series. I've heard of them forever, always been quite interested in this game where you roll around a ball and things get stuck to it, and that ball just gets bigger and bigger. And earlier, for the last two Christmases, I'm one of those adults who still has a Christmas list, and I put a Sony PSP on that list each of the last 2 years, thinking that there's no way this is going to arrive to me. I don't deserve it. Why would I get it? But this year, my girlfriend got me this gorgeous, for the video viewers at home, this gorgeous white PSP 3000.
Nice.
Beautiful little guy there.
Great.
And which it may be is easily, I think, the best Christmas gift I've ever received. But after getting this thing, I was like, well, I've got to dive into the library finally. And I loaded up. Last year, I had played one PSP game. I played one of the stories in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Which one did you start with?
I started with Ventus.
Yeah.
And then I got into Terra's story and then got distracted by other games, but I think I got about halfway through his. But I was playing that on my Vita. So this thing, I was like, okay, I need a couple games to play. Let's load up a varied group. And so I put on Jeanne d'Arc, which is a tactics RPG, for those of you who don't know, and then Me My Katamari, because I wanted a more arcadey pick up and play experience. And yes, that really takes us up from early January. I started playing this game, and I think completed a first full run of it at the end of the month. And since then, have every few days picked up and on a new save file and have just been playing through more. But that's it for me as far as the series and the game goes. Now I really want to play more. But Mo, I'll turn to you. I know that you have, of course, played the first game in this series, which you heard about all in your solo episode. Have you played any others, and had you played this game before? Or no, you told us you hadn't.
Yeah, spoiler alert, this was my first time with this game.
Yes.
I've played a bunch of them. There's a new one that just came out for Switch where you go through time. That's been pretty fun. I haven't finished that yet, but it's
Ooh.
been a really good one.
I gotta play that.
Um, yeah, I'm a fan. I don't, all the titles kind of blend together. I played one on like the Xbox 360 and that had a good co-op. I've played like a couple of whatever ends up on like PlayStation usually because that's what I've had for most of my gaming career.
Sure.
But yeah, started with the first one 18 years ago when I was in college, and I was like, this is weird, this is wonderful, the controls are weird and wonderful, and it's the kind of game I could make other people try at least once.
Hmm.
And it's one of those games where watching people have their first reaction is really satisfying because they're like, oh, I can pick that up. Oh, I can pick that up. Like it's just like a fun, just like a weird game. It's better than, having someone try and play Call of Duty for their first time or something. Like it's just much more satisfying to watch.
Totally. I know that Tyler, I don't know if it was an instinct or if we had discussed it, but I also knew you liked the series. Well,
Yeah.
what's your history with it?
Well, I was a child of divorce. I
For anyone
would.
new too, I'm laughing because this is a favorite bit of ours when when Tyler brings this up on any podcast.
Yeah, anytime I have to talk about childhood gaming, it's become a drinking game. I've heard. But yeah, I would play this at a friend's house definitely when I in the Bay Area when I was living there, and one of those like where he's got a PlayStation and we'd hang out there, and then it was like that and Monkey Ball were like the ones that you'd play quite a bit. Somebody else would have a GameCube at their place, you play Monkey Ball there. I never owned it. I forgot about it, and then when I was living in Seattle, we had it was some house with 13 people living in it. Too many people.
13 and a ghost?
And a ghost and a ghost. It was
Yes.
haunted. I've talked about this before. But there's a PS2 in the house, and it became a thing of everybody sitting around on couches, drinking, and yelling at the screen, playing Katamari. It rocked.
Wow.
This game in particular, I had it was a COVID thing. It was when I started getting in that sweet those COVID checks.
Yes.
I was looking for things to buy, and I did buy. I'll show it off now. I bought it with
Oh
a
my
PSP case.
Whoa.
It rocks. This thing. It's just the prince's head for
Sick.
the listeners. And I got this PSP with it. It came with a bunch of ROMs and stuff. But I started buying physical games because the UMD worked. It stopped working, a year or two ago or whatever. So I guess I'll never be able to watch Dave Chappelle's Block Party ever again on UMD, unfortunately, or Talladega Nights. Pick your one, but. So I bought the case and the game in a bundle, and I played it a lot during that era. It's kind of in a haze, so I did look up some videos to refresh it because UMD's gone.
Oh,
So,
bummer.
but I love it. I love any Katamari game really. I'm playing We Heart Katamari at the moment, which is the second one, the re-roll.
Yeah.
Oh, it has like two stories kind of going in it, I want to say.
What do you mean?
It's just kind of bigger and better. It's just really like the classic early 2000s PS2 sequel.
Oh, okay.
kind of
Yeah,
sequel,
it's really good. It doesn't have one mechanic that I wish the first one had, which is the quick turn. Unless I'm just not doing it, unless I should just look up the controls and maybe it's there. But that's the only thing that's bugged me about it. But other than that, I do a quick level once a night. It's pretty relaxing.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Ty. And then, Brendon, even though I know you like this game, how'd you get into the series?
I've been a fan of the series since the very beginning. I feel like this game coming out was kind of also the beginning of me starting to realize what my own taste was in video games. Like I feel like the early 2000s in particular, this game came out in 2004. It's like right around when I started cluing into the video game industry and started like following that news. And I was, I guess, like 13 at the time, but still I was like, that's when I was starting to, read video game magazines and stuff and really keep an eye out for things that were coming out. And Katamari Damacy was this one game that I was really, really, really looking forward to, because I think it came out in Japan months before it came out in the US. And I remember reading about it in like PlayStation Magazine or something and being like, I'm absolutely 100% getting that game. And my friends were like, why would you get this of all video games? And then I picked it up and they came over to play it and they were like, oh, we all need to play Katamari Damacy also. And I've just been a fan ever since. So I remember loving that game. And then when We Love Katamari came out on the PS2 also, that was my like real aha. Like I'm starting to figure out what I really truly like about video games, because I think that game in particular is kind of the crystallization of the Katamari idea and formula in my eyes. And almost every game has been trying to riff on what they succeeded with in We Love Katamari. And I've just followed the series ever since. I didn't play the Xbox 360 one, which sounds really interesting. But I have played most of the other ones, including the most recent one on the Switch and PC is where I was playing it, which I'm also forgetting the name of. And one of the more interesting ones, I think, came out last year or 2 years ago. It was an Apple Arcade exclusive on iPhone and iPad, where the king of all cosmos decides he wants to be a Twitch streamer. And the only way to get followers is to build the biggest Katamari possible. So, they're like still playing the hits all these years later, which I think is great. But one of the blind spots for me was the PSP one. I'd never played Me and My Katamari until we did that episode for Into the Aether. Like I'd even played the Vita one because I was also a real sicko for the PlayStation Vita. Touch My Katamari was that the name? Sure. And ended up being like, okay, well, that one honestly isn't so hot. So I was a little bit concerned about going backwards to Me and My Katamari. And then when we were doing that episode, because the way these episodes work is we play, every game and then just kind of like stack and write out, what are our personal top tens. We talk about those and we talk about all the honorable mentions and then figure out, like, for the show, what is our top 10 that we would recommend to anyone who's like picking up this console for the first time. And for me and My Katamari ended up being, I think, the number 3 game on the PSP.
Wow.
Like, of every game on the PSP. I just really fell in love with it. And we'll talk about it more, obviously, but the idea of taking both of the first 2 games and kind of doing, now that's what I call Katamari Damacy, but in a handheld format, I think was really smart. And I'm surprised at how well it works from a control perspective. So I became a really big fan of this game, and I've played it basically like it's a game that I always have on me at any given moment. So anytime I leave the house, because I have this other podcast I do about handhelds, but even if I didn't, this would be my whole deal. But I always have like a handheld with me. So like I have, even around me right now on my desk at the moment, I have a PSP Go and I have a Vita, and I have actually in here a second modded PSP Go with a giant battery in it.
Incredible.
Man.
Which, actually, wait, let me show this off because this is really funny. Sorry to the audio listeners, but this is what a normal PSP Go looks like, and this is what this modded one looks like.
That's really cool.
It's like a brick, and you charge it like once a year. It's like a Kindle. And then I have this Android thing that looks just like a PlayStation Vita. I just have a lot of things to play games on, and the first thing I gravitate towards every single time now is the PSP. Like, I always want to play PSP, and the first game I always play when I'm testing a new console that can play PSP games is Me and My Katamari, because I like know it so well at this point. I know exactly how it should feel. So anyway, I like this game a lot. I think it's very good, and I love the series. And I think that new one is actually the best it's been probably since this one.
Yeah, I agree that the new one is really good, and in a way that reminds me of older Katamari games.
Yeah,
you'll have to let me borrow that thing, Mo. We borrowed. I tried out that function on the Switch too, for like borrowing games.
Yes.
I have to do it again because I'd like to try it.
Yeah, you can. I was terrible at that game that I borrowed from you.
Which one?
You're like it's like 2D side scrolling kind of day in the life of a hitman, but not really a hitman. But you.
Oh yeah.
You and
A
Alex
Fading
both like this game.
Afternoon. Yeah, that's a great one.
I did not figure out what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's part of it as well. You can kind of do whatever you'd like, and that is sometimes not user friendly.
Fair.
Goodness, yeah, you gotta let us know, Ty, once you play the new Katamari, and it makes me want to get my hands on it too. I'm realizing now too, Brendon, as you talk about, that episode that you did for the show, is that when I got my PSP, I re-downloaded the episode to listen to it again to be like, what should I be playing? And I think that one came up pretty early, and that's a big reason why it's on here. So thanks again for doing that episode, because that's why I played it. Let's get into some history and context about this game. Again, folks, if you want to jump in for any reason to add on details or correct me if I say something wrong, you've all got the green light, because that's what cousins do, just to circle back. Me My Katamari is a 2005 action puzzle video game developed and published by Namco for the Sony PlayStation Portable. It's the third game in the Katamari series, the first on a portable system, and it is the first game produced without the involvement of series creator Keita Takahashi. It is also the last Katamari game to be published by Namco as an independent company, which merged with Bandai after its release to form Namco Bandai Games in 2006. In this game, controls differ slightly from that of the PS2 version due to the PSP not having two analog sticks. This is kind of a funny thing of being my first Katamari, because I've never known what that should feel like. So to me, I'm like, this is the way to play with the D-pad and the face buttons. I mean, I'm sure we'll be getting into that a lot today, but was that a big obstacle for anybody here?
Yeah, I like the two joysticks is a big
Yes.
selling part.
Yeah.
So switching to this, which again I played on an emulator, so I got like a secondhand experience of what playing it on a PSP is like. But once I got okay at it, but the learning curve for some reason was steeper at being good at it. It took me longer to get good at it. That's how to say that sentence.
Yes.
I think a nice thing about emulating it is also you can remap the face buttons to the right analog stick if you have a
That's
you
a
have
smart
device that can do
person
it.
thing to do. I should have done that. Thank
So
you.
you can just play it like normal, which is cool. When I first played it, when we were doing the show, I was like, I need to play it exactly the way it was intended, like on a PSP with the D-pad and the face buttons. And I found it to be surprisingly fine, all things considered. I wouldn't say surprisingly good, all things considered, but like surprisingly fine, all things considered. It worked better than it had any right to. But even to this day, anytime I play that game, I'm always remapping the face buttons to the right analog stick and just playing that way.
Gotcha. Ty, were you about to jump into and say it was tough?
I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I any chance I miss the most about. It's what I miss the most about the PSP is that I love the feeling of that little guy.
Oh my god, the D-pad is so good.
It's fucking rocks. So any chance to use that, I love to use it.
Yeah.
And Katamari is, as you know, can be as slow as you kind of want it to be, minus being timed for the most part.
Yes.
But you can kind of take your time if you need to, you know. So
Totally. Back to a little description here. The use of the D-pad and the face buttons creates like an approximation of using the two sticks. In the game, however, narratively, the player once again plays as the prince. And the story I had completely forgotten until I started a new save file and was like, oh yeah, there's actually a reason why you're doing this. The king of all cosmos and the royal family decides to go on a vacation to Earth for a sort of summer tropical vacation. And the king, and as I have written here, being huge as hell, splashes down in the ocean, creating like a tsunami that basically destroys all of the islands that many creatures are inhabiting. And so the goal here is, as the prince, to roll up objects and create new islands for different creatures such as bugs and animals to live on. They'll even ask you to create a specific type of island. We can get into that more later. And there's about, I think, 5 different levels in this game, which are just sort of retextured and repurposed for these different challenges. And the prince does his best while rolling up and meeting a litany of his own cousins along the way who are also playable characters. Me My Katamari was met with positive reviews upon release, and the North American version debuted, it says here, on March 21st, 2006. The total sales for this title across all releases is unclear. This was something I was trying to figure out today, with one article citing that the game sold roughly 82,000 copies in Japan, and excuse me, according to website VG Charts, 230,000 copies worldwide by sale end. So still, I don't know if that's definitive or clear, but the series still lives on today with the game a few of us were referring to earlier, the most recent release, Once Upon a Katamari, which came out last year. Does anyone want to add on any details about the just context of this game?
I'm interested that it sold so little, actually, but especially considering how successful the PSP was. I'm thinking, like, what is that new Edmund McMillan game that just came out? Mugenics sold like 1 million copies in a week.
Yeah.
So, that sold, 4 times what this game sold lifetime worldwide in a week. That's pretty wild. I would have thought it was a bigger deal, especially because I feel like in this era in particular, Katamari was still like, this was the era where they were adding Katamari Damacy to the MoMA, and being like, the MoMA started to take video games seriously, and Katamari was one of the first games they threw in there.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's interesting.
It could be that Google's just broken and doesn't push websites that actually have accurate information up to the front of a search, but I did do my due diligence of looking through one page of responses, but that may or may not be accurate.
I prefer to just search something and for it to be wrong.
That is a strategy, yes.
It's the easiest option, frankly.
Google is the website for you, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
I know there is a boss fight books about Katamari by L.E. Hall that's very good, and I think does talk a little bit about the financial, like how maybe it wasn't a hit at first and then it kind of caught on, but I read it so long ago that I don't really remember. But it's a small book, so if you want to pretend you're looking through the internet and not do that.
Yes.
I should read that. I love boss fight books. I'm such a big
it's
fan
a good
of
one.
stuff.
Yeah, they interview the creator. I'm gonna butcher their name, so I'm just gonna mute myself. Yeah.
He only worked on the first 2, so this is the first one that he didn't work on, and then every other one was also removed from him because he moved on to what was that game? Nobi Boy. That was the one where it's like a worm with a top hat who just kind of.
I tried the T-shirt one where the kid is stuck and his arms are like that. Yeah, that was a silly, weird one.
Really fun. Yeah, he's still doing his thing.
Yeah, it's good. The art's all great. He does good work. When is Damacy where the King of all Cosmos gets drunk and destroys everything? Am I wrong in that? Does anybody know offhand?
I don't know if he's drunk. He's just belligerent. He might be drunk.
He got drunk and destroyed a bunch of the stars, and so that's why you have to make more.
Yeah, yes. If I remember right, for pretty much every game, the King of Cosmos messes things up and has his kid fix it, and then kind of berates him the whole time. Is like, yeah, this is kind of good, I guess. I like the there'll be loading screens generally when they're trying to make the map a little bigger, and he'll be like, oh, I was watching wrestling and stuff. He'll talk about wrestling. That's one I saw recently.
All the stuff he's doing that's not helping.
Yes. Yeah, it rocks. It's good stuff.
Well, speaking of which, let's dive into our main discussion on this game. I feel like I want to use what we were just highlighting as a great segue, which is sort of the setting, narrative, and humor of this game. Something that it's so bizarre is kind of a reductive way to describe it, but it's hilarious, whether it be and you kind of get humor a few different ways, both through text, through the presentation of the characters and art style, and also just through natural things that happen while you play the game. They're a little more organic. Speaking of which, something that really struck me today, to use as a jumping off point, is that it's unless I missed something, there's not really a conflict in this game of that you might want to see in like a regular or a typical narrative of the prince standing up to his dad and making a stand and having a little character arc. He just does what he's told and saves all of these creatures by building them islands. And for some reason, I actually really was charmed by that, and it kind of works for this game for me. I don't know if you guys had thoughts.
Oh yeah, that rocks. Yeah, you're terrified the whole time. It's great. Your character is, and the cousins. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's how they all are. I assume the new ones would be this way. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, I feel like there is you could do the like game facts in 2008 like edgy dark reading of this entire franchise if you want to, with like, you know, the king just being this like, you know, belligerent horrible person, and as you're saying, Tyler, like the prince and all the cousins just being like deathly afraid of him. But there is something, I think, at the end of the day very very charming about like I did a whoopsie and I need my son to fix it.
Yes.
And like the entire family coming together to help him out, and to put everything back in order and maybe even make things better in the process, if you can believe it. Which I think is kind of nice. And in this one in particular, it's like the King of all Cosmos basically causing Wind Waker to happen on Earth and then needing you to undo it via talking to like a cockroach and a turtle is like so good. This game in particular, I find the setup to be like maybe funnier than all the other ones, because it's just the king being like, I've worked too hard and I deserve a vacation, and immediately like tripping and falling into the ocean and causing a tsunami that wipes out all life. It's so good.
Yeah. But if you lose a level, then the king like ties you to a rope and punches you over and over again.
Yeah,
like,
that rocks.
This minigame was rough.
I love that stuff. Yeah. The one I'm playing now, he shoots you with missiles out of his eyes or whatever. If you lose,
you get like smaller and smaller. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I love it. It's good stuff.
It took me several failures, I'll say. I won't conflate how much I failed. I failed enough, but Mo, the moment you're talking about where you're just kind of dangling on this string and you can move around, and once I learned that you can like repeatedly press a button at the end of like a pendulum swing to like sort of dodge him and fake him out, I started to even have fun with this dark moment in a way. And then because I think if he punches you too many times, the dialogue sequence doesn't finish, I want to say. But if you can dodge enough, he kind of gets exhausted and just moves on with his day.
That's a good mechanic. I like that.
Very silly. But yeah, are there any speaking of the humor, the silly game, is there anything that tickled any of you in particular outside of some of the stuff we've maybe already mentioned?
I made a list.
Oh, did you
made a list?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wait, no, do your list.
Okay. Slingshotting into the king's dick, basically, to start every level. That was amazing. The grandma riding a giant turtle, one of the levels, just like the little combos of things. The rats hanging out with the rat traps, the people sitting in the shopping carts and sitting in the rolling chairs rolling around. And one of the levels, they're like, collect warm things, and then they start you in the snow. Just like sick stuff like that. I think that's most of my list. And the haunted house, but that wasn't really funny. It was just like a fun thing where it'd be like a ghost pops out and then you just roll up the ghost and keep going.
There's nothing more satisfying than getting to the point where you can start to roll up people.
Yeah.
It's a very specific feeling. Feels great.
Yeah, the bit in particular too, like the mechanic that they have where if you're just about the size where you should be able to roll something up, but you can't quite, and it like when you knock into them, they kind of fly and then are dazed. That effect on people in particular, when you're like exactly the size you need to be to roll up a person, and that's when they start running away from you as well.
Yeah,
like that. Oh my god, it doesn't get much better than that, I think, until like you're doing the last level and you're rolling up literally like just everything that exists. The volcano that you've been rolling around.
Yes.
Those are like the two sides of it, but also just the little kind of like Japanese cultural stuff. Like they have like an Ultraman who's walking around in the sea at all times that you can knock over and pick up at a certain point. Stuff like that just really, really tickles me. I think, a lot is said about, and I think specifically when this game came out, there was a lot of like the kind of othering of Japanese media through the like, oh, it's so weird and wacky, and like this game is almost kind of trying to lean into that in a way, but is also it's such like an irreverent way of highlighting and celebrating Japanese culture as well. Like this game in particular, and it's pulling from the first two games, but having the levels that are happening during like some of the seasonal festivals and stuff in Japan, and just being able to like roll around through there, even though you are causing chaos, there is something like very charming and nice about that experience. But then also the ironically little things like having Ultraman in there just kind of add to this like celebration aspect of the game. But yeah, I don't know. Just rolling up people's always can be fun, man.
Just the screams of terror when you do that, or especially when you're larger and there's like a crowd of people on like a beach or wherever they are, hearing that it always makes me just giggle a little bit to myself.
There's a level that's a school festival, and that's the only one where I'm like, oh my God, I'm the villain, where you're like rolling up all these screaming school children who are like there to watch a band play in the gymnasium. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I was playing the volcano level with the chameleon where they shout out what you need to collect.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I hit a bug because the last like 10 things, it was like, collect 3 children, get me 5 children, get me, like it was children after children. I was like, this is a little creepy. Like, what kind of island are we building? Ooh.
I didn't realize this game was going to make me have a sort of braid like look inward of like, wait, am I the bad guy of this game? But it's not that it really does that on any serious level. But as you are, just
you're just following orders, huh?
Just following orders, yeah. Which that's always a great excuse for any period of life, especially the one we're living in, right, Tyler?
Sure, yeah,
of course. But yeah, there's so much that is just so. There's a lot of delight in this game in general that makes it so fun. Whether I did a few marathon sessions of play, but mostly was finding little moments here and there throughout mostly the month of January to pick up and play. Whether it be like, okay, I'll do one level before I close my eyes before bed, or I've got to go to this place, but I think I've got enough time for a Katamari roll. Kind of in a way that I used to play with Tetris 99. I'd be like, okay, I've got a comedy show I got to go perform at, and I've got 15 minutes to kill. Let's go stress myself out with some Tetris 99. This almost has like the opposite effect, strangely. Mo, being a fan of the series, what is something that you want to bring up about the game today?
I really like the mini games, other than the one where you're on the rope and getting punched. That's not my kink. But the volcano levels were really fun, where it's like roll around in a desert, hope that you find money in order to give to this camel, or find a bunch of sugar for this ant to build a house. What were the other? It's like rocket fuel for a gorilla. And then it was just like smaller levels that were weirder. And after the credits, there's like 2 of the same minigame, a night version and a day version, where it's like 2D Katamari and you're picking stuff up and it's like bouncier. It's a different kind of mechanic. And that was really fun. I was a big fan of the minigames.
I love that they kind of introduced the volcano. I don't know if I would call it. Yeah, mini game sort of levels are introduced pretty early on in the game, where after whichever creature it is, it may even be the ant or cicada or something that you complete an island for. They tell you that, I think the king tells you can just go over there, which I love. You just press the R button or the L button to travel. And there's something really charming about just the animation of the prince or whoever you're controlling. Yeah, just rowing across this giant sea really quickly. But they introduce it early on, and if you want to, it can kind of, for as much of playing the same game can, almost functioned for me as like a palate cleanser from the typical level, even though some of them are seemingly identical style games. But I love that. And the 2D, I mean, you all would know better. Is that something they had done since in Katamari, of having that like credit sequence where you're just going left to right and collecting stuff?
I don't remember that. I think the first one ends with you rolling up
Like the
everything on
moon or
Earth
something.
Yeah.
and going into
Okay.
space. Yeah.
Yeah, the credits roll and you're still picking up like stars in the galaxy, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And that was like a very epic feeling.
Yes. And I think one of them ends with you rolling up the credits also.
Yeah.
I
Great.
forget which one that is. Yeah, they're always having fun with it.
They rock. Do we want to talk about the cousins?
Oh, we have to talk about the cousins. Yes. So
Yeah.
Tyler, you want to lead that off for us?
I'm pretty positive this is a penis reference with the guy Johnson who just has the long head.
Oh yeah.
It's got to just be a penis reference, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, he's basically the opposite of the prince, so instead of his head being like this, it's like this.
It's long, yeah.
Oh,
that
yes,
way.
yes.
Yeah.
I have some pins somewhere that I don't know where I got them, but they're like, one of them is like the king of all cosmos, and it like spins, and then it's like there's like the strawberry one, Ichigo.
Ichigo's great.
Yeah, I like the strawberry outfit. There's the camo fuzzy one. I like that guy. Ninjamo.
I want to say too, as you're going through the list of your faves here,
That's my three.
Oh, perfect. Well, the listener probably knows. I assume if you're listening to this, you played the game. But in case you haven't, as you're going through the levels in this game, you will find little characters that look just like the prince or similar. That when you roll up, the king will say something like, "Oh, I think you just rolled up somebody in your Katamari," and they become playable characters in the game. So you could just play the whole game as someone else as soon as you find them. I didn't realize that was a mechanic until I was through like 2/3 of the levels. I thought you would just go over and like look at the cousins, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to go hang out with them. Yeah, there's some really like fun cursed ones in there. I feel like Johnson is one of those, definitely.
Yeah.
I love there's one named Odeon who is like, I think the idea is that they're like an extremely ripped version of the prince. But essentially it takes like the prince usually, has this like kind of little ball on the top of his head.
Yes.
So it puts the face up there, which means that like what would have been his face is actually the torso now. Really horrifying design, which I kind of love. There's something, there's something I would say almost like the thing about it that I really appreciate. My favorite has always just been Dip, though. Like ever since they introduced the idea of cousins, Dip is this one that just is wearing black and has like colorful stars all over it. And Dip just reminds me like they're just like a cooler version of the prince. It's just like what if the prince was like getting invited to parties all the time?
Yeah. I think that's one of the pins I have, in fact.
Yeah, Dip looks like they're wearing like a sweater, a nostalgic sweater we'd be jealous of. Like, oh, you still have that? Oh, that's your mom's old sweater?
Yeah.
Kind of these colorful dots on them.
Oh, is that vintage? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am very partial to Fumin, who's also part of the original 24, and he kind of looks like an outlet or like a plug that you'd plug into an outlet for me. He's light blue, and just has like two pointy parts of his head. I like him.
Yeah,
or she, excuse me.
That's the third pin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good
They're great.
prince.
I'll have to give that one to you, Connor.
Oh, you shouldn't.
I shouldn't.
Definitely do not, actually.
Okay. Hey.
Connor refused. You get to keep it.
There's also Kinoko, who's just a mushroom. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Great.
Mushroom
I should.
arms and legs.
I'm going to put a link in the show notes to this Katamaripedia webpage of just all of these cousins so people can look at these if they want to.
It's a great website.
Yeah. I like the freaky centaur looking one, but I have no idea what their name is, where they have like 4 legs.
Oh, yes. It's kind of Prince-esque.
Yeah. It looks like the prince with like a badunkadunk.
Yes. It's one of the rookies from this game.
That rocks.
Yeah, I like that they call them that. There's one that's like a little box. There's
the box
Norn
is
that looks
good.
like a dreidel. Or like a thimble.
The little naked one that's like, if you zoom in, there's like actually no clothes and it's nude colored.
Oh.
It's just
That rocks,
something for
dude.
everything. I have a really good Katamari sticker. I'm gonna see if I can grab real quick.
Oh, please. Yeah,
Cousins are so good.
they're fantastic. I love they when you find one in a level, especially once you are playing the levels where, oh, that's so great, Mo.
Yeah. King of the Hill
Wow.
mashed up with Katamari.
Oh
wow.
my goodness.
Yeah, where Peggy is the queen, Bobby is the prince, and Hank is the king. It's great. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Damn it, Prince.
Can I just describe this one that I'm obsessed with?
Yes.
There's this one cousin named Pockle. And Pockle is just like straight up a human being kind of elf who is apparently also technically a cousin.
I'm seeing him now.
The description says Pockle is a rookie that much resembles an elf or a dwarf, perhaps a porcelain clown doll. He is supposedly a prince from a magic country. According to the king of all cosmos, Pockle has made so many friends in the has made so many friends in the king's cosmos. He has forgotten to return home. He is a nice boy who is good at making friends, is the description. I'm obsessed with him. Pockle from like a completely different universe who is just so good at making friends he never went home. That's awesome.
Love it. He just gets to be a part of this.
He's just hanging out.
Incredible. All of this additional, this game for having a limited amount, I guess you could say a limited amount to do. That's really not true because there's plenty of replay value in wanting to like go back in levels and collect whether it's cousins you haven't done or set a new high score and a certain level size Katamari for a level. But all this additional stuff really gives so much extra things to enjoy about this game. And I probably did scratch the surface and I finished it and didn't see everything.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that We Love Katamari really introduced on the PS2. Like that when I say that game is like the bigger and better Katamari Damacy, that's kind of what I mean. Because the first one is very much playing the hits in terms of like what you expect from the experience, which is like I'm just gonna roll some stuff up. The King of all Cosmos is gonna be a weird dude, and we're all just gonna hang out, and I'm gonna look at a panda bear smoking weed or something, and then you get to We Love Katamari, and that's when they start to get really interested in like you're collecting cousins. We have mini games. There's like an island that you are, or like a bunch of planets and stuff that you're like building up, and you get to hang out in. You're like getting all these little treasures and things. I mean, Tyler, you're playing it right now.
Yeah.
You get it, but like that's the vibe that they pull through into Me and My Katamari, which I think was really smart, especially for a game that you're taking on the go. I think the portability of it is really important there.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Especially those levels near the end where they go on for a while, and not even the eternal mode, but the normal mode where you, at the end of the game, instead of playing a level for 4 to 5 minutes, I played levels for 19 minutes or so, and you can put your bad boy, the PSP, to sleep with just one flick of the power switch, which is what a feature for that. I know it's like so standard now to have on a handheld, but it must have been awesome at the time.
Mo, you got to get one of these.
So I had this weird little handheld thing for playing ROMs, and the minute I got Katamari working on it, it died and has not turned on again. So
No.
maybe it was very bootleg. But maybe I'll give getting a PSP a try. On this game though, the levels were deceivingly long because you'd play a level and then you're like, okay, I hit 5 minutes, and they'd be like, oh, I'm teleporting you to another part, and you're doing another level. I prefer in the other Katamaris where they're like, you have 30 minutes, and you're like, okay, I ate my lunch, I'm ready to roll for 30 minutes.
See, yes.
So that was one part of this version where I was like, wait, how long is this? Is there one more stage after this? Like,
Right. And that feels antithetical to being a handheld game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Because like that's an instance where you really need to know exactly how long your session is going to be. Because if you're on the subway for 15 minutes and the round goes for 20, like, okay, I'm goofed. I'm gonna miss my stop.
You gotta stay on the train forever.
You gotta stay on the train. You can't get off the train. You gotta finish rolling up all the cool things for the horned beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ending up in Chelsea when you want to be in the East Village or whatever. Is that a good approximation of what can happen?
It was perfect. It was perfect. You nailed it. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
That's how it works over here. You got it.
There's plenty more that I'd love to discuss about this game. But Mo, you were talking about like a minor critique that you have. The one thing that I was feeling in this game at a certain point was a how do I want to say this? Just not a boredom, but a sort of my enthusiasm for the environments and the levels was starting to wane just a hair when I had replayed them all so many times. I think they do a good enough job for this game of, as I was sort of saying earlier, like repurposing and repainting them with different objects, or even like sort of sometimes there's one level can be snowy, maybe multiple can do that, but that was the only thing that by the end of the game I was feeling I had an appetite for a little more variety there, which I would assume that's maybe a common thing with this game.
Yeah, that's more of a. I think that's more of a limitation of the hardware at the end of the day, right? Because this is both a remix of the first two games in a portable form factor, but also they need to be really specific about what assets they're including and how often they can reuse them, right? So that's why you have like a set amount of levels, but you're kind of exploring them in different ways, or you have different challenges for each level and stuff. But I think that's like a totally fair critique of this game. You know, even at the time, not it's an apples to oranges comparison, but you play something like, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep on the PSP, and it's like you fit a whole PS2 Kingdom Hearts game on the PSP somehow. Miracle game. And then Katamari is like, we have 5 levels, and you're just, this time you're picking up candy, and next time you're picking up sunglasses.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. One thing I wanted to bring up a comparison that I was feeling as I was playing this game and didn't quite know how to describe it was that Tyler, you had said, I think it was Tyler, you were talking about how you also had friends who were playing Monkey Ball around the same time that you kind of got into the series. That was you?
Yeah.
Of course, that's an easy comparison to draw of a game where you're moving around in a ball as opposed to moving a ball around. But aside from that, this game was reminding me of some of the momentum I would feel in like the Tony Hawk series, or feelings I would have playing SSX. And I think that all had to do with like momentum of especially getting the hang of the controls, trying to just keep myself rolling in a direction or turning at the right time to just keep that going. Because obviously the thing that you'd like to happen the least is your momentum to completely halt, whether it be you don't know how to turn and you hit a wall, or you bump into something that bumps you back because you can't collect it yet. But I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but I was getting the feeling like that of kind of zipping around a Tony Hawk level. And if I lost momentum, I'd be like, okay, I'm just doing an air trick and I'm going to come down and start zipping.
Take your time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great party game because it's fun to look at.
Yes.
And everybody's screaming, get the eraser, screaming it. It's fun. It's fun to play while you're drunk,
Are you playing it in like a party capacity often? Like, are you inviting people over?
I used to, certainly not recently, but
I think you should bring it back. That sounds really fun.
It's a good time. Connor does video game nights and we'll have a bunch of people over, and they're all themed. You can do Katamari night.
Yeah, we've had
Katamari, Monkey Ball, all that.
We've had some easy genres, I guess, of like racing night, fight night, and I think ball night.
Ball night is pretty good.
Totally. You could add Rocket League to that.
Yeah.
You definitely could.
Certainly could.
Ball pit.
Yeah.
Just
a lot of people have been playing that lately.
Playing their own ball pits.
Like building a physical ball pit. That's also good. Yes.
Could be good. You could do that to your whole house, huh?
Yes, you should.
Oh, yeah. That's worth it.
Oh, man. Glitter Night's going to be brutal for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be the end of me. Just that's going to be everywhere. My cat's going to be a glitter cat by the end. I'll look like that one cousin that you really liked, Brendon, with the sweater. Brendon, for you, is there an element of this game or like an experience that you've had with Me and My Katamari that you haven't got to bring up yet today?
Yeah, I think the thing that really strikes me about these games is how how well known they are or how much they're discussed as this kind of like wild zany thing, but how much it also focuses on kind of almost like centering yourself and kind of existing in a space. So when you're in a level and you're rolling stuff up, obviously it's very hectic, and there's a timer and the king is yelling at you and et cetera, et cetera. There's a frog that's 8 times your size that's gonna like knock all the stuff off your Katamari. But when you're back on the island, it really is kind of a hangout simulator, and I feel like We Love Katamari and this one both really lean into that. And I feel like this game in particular, like the space where you can just go listen to the music from the game, or even just the experience of going and visiting the other islands to go like check in on the ant and see how the ant is doing. Like that experience, I think, is really heartening in a way that this series is not known for, but I think is core to the experience. Like it almost feels like you're getting the same emotional sense that you would get from playing a game like Animal Crossing, but in a game like Katamari Damacy, which feels like those two things should be totally incongruous, but they're really not. I think it's part and parcel with the experience.
Totally. You get that feedback too as the island starts to grow and change, and more creatures are like living there and are seemingly satisfied with the job you've done for them. Yeah, that is really nice. It's, as you're talking about this too, it also is reminiscent of, to me, I don't know why, I could probably figure out why I'm making this comparison, but to the two newer Fire Emblem games where you have both I forget the names of the spaces, but the sort of castle in the sky and
Garreg Mach Monastery,
and then Garreg Mach Monastery.
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, this is the place where I'm going to take a break and chill out, and maybe even like, the social sim my way through before I'm ready to go out on what is not a tactics battle, but a little action roll around moment.
Yeah, I think that give and take, right, between how intense a rolling experience can be and having something built into the game that is your break, instead of like literally stopping the game and putting it away. You get to still live in that world, but also enable yourself to like chill out. And I think Fire Emblem is a great pull there. I mean, Persona works the same way, where it's like anytime you're engaging in a narrative beat, it's probably realistically going to be intense on some front. So you need something else on the back end to kind of allow the player to like exhale and decompress. So in Fire Emblem in particular, like that's a tactics game where you are literally at war with people who used to be your students. It's horrifying. It's a horrifying concept. So having a bit where you can like go and catch a big fish with like the biggest, hunkiest dude in your party is like sick, man. That's exactly what I needed, Better be catching fish or sharing tea with somebody. One of those options for sure. Absolutely.
We got to get a Katamari game where they're doing the Final Fantasy road trip style,
Dude, yes, I agree.
Driving around with, I don't know.
And their car
a
is
trumpet, like attached to a piece of fish. I don't know.
Pockle's big day.
Oh, yeah, Pockle's. Yeah, all the cousins. Oh my God. Yeah, just all of them crammed into a bus. Yeah, it's got to be a bus.
I love that.
No one take that.
Ty, it's going to be yours forever. Is there? I haven't turned to you yet, Tyler, for something maybe you haven't gotten to share yet. Is there anything you feel like bringing up right now?
Yeah, I think that is. I like that came up, the hangout sim of it all. It's, and I know I'm not completely talking about the game that we're here to talk about, because I am playing We Heart Katamari as well, but I enjoy that. I enjoyed in that game when you save and it asks you like, do you want to stop playing? And you say yes. Everybody on the screen will like wave to you. And then they'll keep doing that until you press like another button, but they'll just go forever. But things like that. I love it. I don't know. That's all I got.
There's a pretty big love component in these games.
Yeah,
it's important. I think like community and stuff. Even the Japanese box art for that game in particular on the PS2. Is the development team outside of Namco Studios, like all waving. And it's just a
Oh,
picture of them, and it just says "We love Katamari" on top. It's really sweet.
The cutscenes are always good in the games. I enjoy any cutscene that'll happen. Just a lot of crap, just happening all at once. It's great.
oh my gosh! It's the way the king's hips move in the opening cutscene of this, and his little like almost disco-esque pose is so great. Yeah, they are often just using the sort of 2D flat art for that, but it gets across so much joy and charm and many things that just are hard not to smile at when you're playing it.
It's just a good time.
It is. I had two more things I wanted to say about this game before maybe we can wrap up our thoughts. And the first of which is just part of my experience, which was I had such a hard time turning right in this game. I never kind of mastered it, and I think it was because I just was not pressing the circle button and right or whatever you have to do. But so I've kind of felt like reverse Derek Zoolander, where I'm turning left the whole game. And if I wanted to go right, I was kind of going in a quick circle and even using the L button to do the sharp turns, but just kind of circling back there. Or I might even go in reverse down like a ramp or something and hold my momentum until I can sort of swing around. But that was just a little silly thing about my experience that I don't know if anybody else went through.
We call that two left shoes, Connor.
You could. Two left shoes to turn left. The other thing that I wanted to just praise about this game was the music and the sound design and just the little, whether it be, for me it was a lot of the combination of the music in some of these levels and even the opening title music combined with the tiny sounds that would be happening, whether it's the sound something makes when you pick it up or even the response to like a button press on the island in the world. There's so much about that that brought me a lot of joy. I had the wiki pulled up because I wanted to say the main composer of this game is Yu Miyake, is my best guess on the pronunciation, but I think they also took music from the first couple games and put this in this one. Is that true to you all?
It sounded the same, yeah.
I can't believe music didn't come up until just now, really. But yeah, a lot of catchy tunes.
Yeah.
Yes, even just the island tune of like the hangout is designed perfectly for it, but really, I mean, it gets back to the thing we were really just emphasizing, which is the relaxed nature of just enjoying your time on it. I think, Mo, you were going to say something, or did I interrupt you?
Oh, I love the happy poppy music and then like the cars honking and the people screaming as you pick them up. Like that was a fun, everything's good, this isn't a problem.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This game kind of being again like that's what I call Katamari game. Like it is taking levels and ideas from the first two games, but it's also taking kind of the greatest hits of the soundtrack from the first two games. My question to everybody is, what did you name your islands? Because you can name your island right at the beginning. Do you know what you named it?
Let me see if I can find out.
Mine was
Go ahead.
Lick, Lick, which is like pretty PG as far as me naming anything on a video game. So.
That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What about you, Tyler?
I'm trying to remember because this was probably around Animal Crossing time as well, where you also got to name your island. So I was like, was it something to do with that? I can't remember. I wish I could. And
if you could name an island right now, Tyler, what would you name it?
Don't say cigarette.
Not Cigarette Island. I wish. I just quit the stuff. Yeah, so it'd probably be Zen Island.
That's good. Brendon, did you remember what you've named one before?
Yeah. Mine is because they give you like all the letters and the numbers, and in the bottom they have like the four suits of cards that you can have. So you have hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds. I just made it all hearts. Just
cute.
Love Island, I guess.
Oh, that's great.
Love Island.
Yeah, but
Katamari
not
edition.
the TV show. Yeah.
But they're cousins.
Yeah, we can't. We can't get into
Uh-oh, we just got the best, worst idea
that.
ever.
I goofed. I messed up. I messed up so bad.
No, and then they're all on a road trip, and
Yeah.
I looked
weave
at
that into it.
mine, and on the second save file that I made just to like replay the game and jog my memory the last week or so, I just named the standard name, which was Prince. But on my original island, which when it left off, I was playing as Johnson, I called it Dandy Island. Wasn't that just sweet?
Wow.
That's nice.
Dandy Island. Yeah, that's
Zin
great.
Island has a lot of flavors outside of California that we can't get here.
Oh, I'm sorry. You also only have half the cousins.
Yeah, I know it sucks.
Yeah. Well, folks, why don't we want to go around in a little circle real quick and just recap whatever final thoughts we have on this game or whatever place it holds. This could be one word or however long you want to ramble. I'll kick things off for us and just say that this game was such a delight, and I can't imagine starting my little PSP journey by playing any other game or not having this one be a part of that. And I'm on one hand bummed that it took me so long to get into the series, but on the other, so glad that I started with this one because it really captured me and made me just feel so much joy over the last month. And there's still more to experience. I haven't got all the cousins, so I want to find them. But I think this is going to be a game in a series that at this point I start to make a part of my rotation and revisit. So I loved it. It was great. Ty, I'll turn to you, pal. Final words.
Sure. If anybody out there knows how to fix a UMD, I would love to play this again. And I'd love to see all those old movies I can't see anymore. No, I love it. I'm glad you asked me to do this because it made me play Katamari, just games in general. So give me something to do.
Hey, I love
in
it,
a gaming drought. It feels like for me. So
well, buddy, I'm glad you could be here for that. I'm glad I could do you a service.
Thank you, bud.
Mo, final thoughts on Me and My Katamari.
I liked it.
And let that be where you're
Deep
coming.
words, yeah. I was in a bar years ago and they were playing the Katamari soundtrack, and I think that more bars should play this Katamari soundtrack.
Now, this was in Portland, I assume, yes?
It was in New York.
Was it?
Ooh.
Yeah, plot twist. They play video games there.
That's true.
We play a lot of stuff out here, folks.
Too expensive to do anything else.
Yeah.
Well, Mo, thank you for those words. And then Brendon, leaving this episode, what do you want your stamp to be about Me and My Katamari?
Perfect video game. They haven't topped it since. Naughty Dog keeps trying. They can't quite hit those highs. No, I think it's fantastic. I think it's an incredible Katamari game. I think the way they translated it to a portable form factor makes a lot of sense and still works, and it's still a go-to for me. You know, we do these big retrospective episodes and it takes an entire year to like produce and get ready for, and then when it's done, there are usually only a couple of games that linger that I keep going back to, and this is one of them for me. I think it's great, and I'm excited for you at the precipice of your Katamari journey. You know, starting with this one. I mean, look, this one is good, but when you get your hands on the stuff that's on Switch, you're gonna lose your marbles.
Ooh,
my friend, you're gonna.
I got a lot of those to lose.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time. But yeah, hey, good video game.
Awesome,
good game.
Well, thank you three for sharing some wonderful words today, and thank you for joining me for Co-op episode 67, where we discussed Me and My Katamari. Folks, on our way out, I know we plugged some stuff up top, but before I do some show plugs and some personal plugs for myself, I'd love to go around real quick and see if you want to redo that. Tyler, buddy, thanks again for doing this.
Yeah.
It's been too long since I had you on for one of these. But what do you want? You had nothing to plug earlier, right?
You can check out the band. It's Grail 150. But that'll be, that's just some demos.
Grail 150. Should I link to like a Bandcamp or a social media handle?
Yeah, sure. And no, I know I'm being weird about it.
It's okay.
Anyways, And then the cheese I used was a Tillamook blend for the grilled cheese.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Mexican blend, but it works, you know.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, buddy, thanks again. Mo, so good to have you back and just have an excuse to chat for a little bit. Do you want to replug some stuff?
Yeah, if you like gay video games, it doesn't make you gay, but you can find them at Queermo Games. Queermo.games is my website. I'm working on the pitch still. There's like boobs and butts, so there's something for everyone. It's
yeah,
got some branding
and
issues.
thank you for saying that.
Ooh, yeah.
Everybody likes at least one of those two things. Some of us, both. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it was great having you back. And then, Brendon, so good to have you on the pod for the first time. This is awesome chatting. What do you want people to know?
I want people to know that I just purchased a copy of Queer Quest, and I'm going to play that later.
Hey, there you go.
It worked.
Yeah, I'm excited to play that. And yeah, go to wavelengths.online. That's where all my stuff is usually. And thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Of course.
Glad to talk about this game at any opportunity.
Absolutely. This was as much fun as I could have hoped. I'll go ahead and close this out with some plugs of my own. First and foremost, the cover art for Call Me By Your Game is done by the artist Glenn J. You can find his Instagram and everything else we've already plugged in the show notes wherever you're listening. This podcast is produced, edited, and the original music throughout is done by Jeremy Schmidt. You can follow us at Call Me By Your Game on Instagram, Blue Sky, and YouTube. If you want a video version of every single episode we do, you can find that there. Especially this one, we're showing off handhelds, folks. You got to go see the handhelds on the YouTube version. You can also follow me, Connor, on Blue Sky and Instagram as well. And lastly is that if you like the conversations I have with people about video games and you want more of that, including possibly a week-by-week Games Club series of what we're covering now, Fire Emblem Awakening. It's probably why Fire Emblem was on the brain. Check us out over at patreon.com/Super NPC Radio or the free feed where those series eventually go at Super NPC Games Club, where the Death Stranding Games Club is currently airing. That'll do it for another episode of the Call Me By Your Game co-op series. We will see you on the next one. Bye, cousins.